here today. Welcome back to another video, another What's for Dinner video. I'm going to show you some of the things that we've been eating around here lately. Let me just say there's a good combo of things this week. I got a couple right at the beginning of the video that you won't believe how great and delicious they are and how quick they are to get ready. So we all need those kind of recipes. And then I have a yummy recipe that's also sort of fall inspired. I'm looking forward to fall, and this one kind of makes you get in that fall mood, but we all know it's still blazing hot outside. So that one was kind of fun, looking ahead of what's to come. And then I've got a few other things in between. So I think you're going to enjoy today's video, and let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. Hi everyone, we're going to start the video with a couple really easy meals. So this first one started off with pulling out these French fries, getting them in the air fryer. I'm going to use this Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh roast beef. I pulled out this chunk of Swiss Asiago cheese that we got from the Amish store. From my freezer, I pulled out 2 of these little mini sub buns. And I also have an envelope of this au jus gravy mix. These things together, it's going to make a really quick and easy meal that was very delicious. All right, into my very worn and loved, I don't know if worn is the right word, but my very loved and used little skillet here. I am making the au jus gravy according to the package directions. Very easy, comes together quickly, and thickens up nicely in no time. I am going to use this whole entire package of this roast beef. I don't often buy roast beef in these prepackaged containers. Usually if I'm getting roast beef, I get it from the deli. But this was really good. I tasted a piece plain just to see what the taste was. And it was really, really good. I would definitely buy this again. But as you can tell, I am making, well, I don't know if you can tell. Let me just tell you, I am making a sort of a French dip sandwich, kind of my own way, sort of. So into the au jus goes all of this roast beef, and it takes no time at all. So you don't want to do this and leave it in here long. You just basically want to warm it through in this gravy mix. Now, I'm not sure if a traditional sort of French dip has any sauce on it, but we love barbecue and horseradish on our roast beef sandwiches when we get those. So I had those in my refrigerator. So I added those, added this cheese, and then I'm just going to put the roast beef on top and put the bun together. And that quick, you guys, very quick. We have a most delicious French dip sub. Now, most French dips, I don't know that it's actually submerged in the au jus. Maybe the au jus just served on the side. It's been a long time since I've had a French dip, but this is the way I wanted to make it. And let me just tell you, it was so delicious. My husband James really, really loved it. The French fries, of course, in the air fryer came out, and put a little bit of the Lowry's seasoning salt on that, and this was really great. This is a kind of meal that, you know, you could go through the drive-through and pick up if you needed to, but you can also do it at home pretty quick and pretty easy. I had this one on the menu plan for a little while and just got around to making it. It was really good. Now for another meal that's very easy. I'm using a can of cream of chicken soup and a can of the small biscuits. If you've been around here long, you know I am making chicken in a biscuit. This is my mom's recipe. I don't know of anyone else that has made this, and it's just so simple and so delicious. So you want to use a can of cream of chicken soup, fill that can up with milk, and into a baking dish, you're going to mix those two together. Now, when I was a kid and wanted to help out in the kitchen, this is what my mom would let me do. But to this day, I'm pretty sure my mom never owned a whisk in her entire life. She didn't use a whisk, so I used a little fork, and my job would be to get all the lumps out of the cream of chicken soup with the milk. So once you have that done, you're going to put your biscuits in there. And that is it, you guys. And it bakes in the oven, and it makes kind of like a dumpling-ish type taste, I guess, in a way. It is so, so good. Just a comfort food favorite of mine since I was a little kid. And we just love it. And it's been a while since I had made it, and you literally don't have to do another thing to it, but I usually top it with something, sometimes just pepper, sometimes I put a little parsley flakes. This time this is a blend of garlic, salt, and pepper, and a little of the parsley on the top, and this bakes in the oven about 30 to 45 minutes-ish on about 350, 375. I also pulled out these famous chicken fingers from my freezer. I have never purchased these before. I've looked for them many times at Walmart, and they never have them, but I was able to find them, and I was curious to see what the hype was all about. I've heard so many people review these and say how delicious they are, so I got those in my oven. Now, I've said many times around here before, if I am having my oven going, I'm going to try to maximize that and use the oven for anything I can while it's going. So I had been wanting to make a loaf of zucchini bread, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to put that in there along with these chicken strips and the chicken and a biscuit. I found this zucchini bread recipe from my Sunday dinner at Grandma's. It's a gooseberry patch cookbook, and I just followed that recipe to put this together. This made me think back to all of the years that we gardened. We pretty much had a garden every year that we were married, I would say, for the most part. And we've been married 34 years, but we stopped growing a garden in 2020. That's when everyone else started growing a garden, I think. But we just needed to simplify our life and cut some things out that we could. And gardening takes up a lot of time. And so we cut out the garden, and we've not grown a garden since then. And so yeah, I miss it from time to time, but you know, I can always visit a farm stand or a farmer's market and get what I need, but this definitely made me think back to that, and I haven't made a zucchini bread in a long time. Okay, look at these. These are banana bread flavored pecans. And then look at this. This is, speaking of being married 34 years, this is one of two pieces that I have left from a wedding gift. The little kitchen geese and ducks and things like that were so popular back during that time frame. And so I have two pieces left of that original set. But I ended up not using that. I have this other bread pan here that's wider and deeper. And instead of making two loaves, I just decided to make the one. And so that is all done now and going in the oven. I'll have the recipe down below if you are interested in that. And so it was a good time to get this in the oven while I had the oven going. All right, here are the biscuits just out of the oven, and I just made a can of mixed vegetables on the side. And here's the chicken out of the oven. We liked it. It was very good. I wouldn't say that I would rush right out to buy it again, although I probably will buy it again. The Just Bare brand of chicken is my all-time favorite, and I find it's pretty hard to beat. But it was really good. We enjoyed it, and if you haven't tried it, it's definitely worth trying. And this whole meal was just delicious. And here is the zucchini bread. It was really, really good as well. I added those pecans I showed you, plus quite a few more just regular pecans, and so it had a lot of those in there, which we love. It was really good. Now we are having some pork chops on the grill. James had brought these in before he left for work and had them waiting on me that morning. Here's what they looked like out of the package, and he left me a note. He wanted me to marinate them with the brown sugar and the Olive Garden or any kind of Italian dressing. It doesn't have to be Olive Garden, but we call these brown sugar pork chops. I don't measure, it just takes some brown sugar and some Italian dressing, and you want to let those have plenty of time to marinate before grilling them. And I left all the fat on these just so James could see it, because this is the first time we are trying these pork chops since we've gotten all our pork back from the butcher. So I just wanted him to see how these looked, and he did trim all of the fat off of these before he grilled them. but they were really, really good. So I just let these stay in the refrigerator for a couple of hours until he got home to grill them. And he also told me he would like to have macaroni and tomato. So here's some elbow macaroni. I am boiling this up per package directions, and I am using 1 can of the Italian style stewed tomatoes, juice and all. Once the macaroni is done, you drain it, and then just pour in the tomatoes and let these just kind of cook together until they come to temperature. I usually add a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic, something like that. And I am so thankful that he planned out this meal. It was so, so good. It went together very, very well. And I decided to do my pork chop on a brioche bun. The bun was quite a bit bigger than the pork chop, so I just cut a little portion of that off and just had a pork chop sandwich, and it was delicious. This was not even on my radar to make, but I saw a little reel on Instagram for beef stroganoff, ground beef stroganoff, and I decided that that was what I was making, and I have all the stuff for it. So I will have linked below the Instagram account. I believe his account is Cooking in the Midwest, something along those lines. He has really good recipes. So I'm following his recipe. So you brown up a pound of ground beef with onion, add in some garlic, the recipe also called for black pepper and Italian seasoning. So I am getting those added in, and then it called for a little bit of butter and flour to make the thickener for the sauce. This is a ground beef stroganoff recipe that does not require a can of cream of mushroom soup. So you just want to get that all incorporated, and of course once you add your beef broth, this will start thickening up. Here it is, all nice and thick. Now this recipe does have you boil up your pasta separately and then add it in. I know there's probably recipes that you just cook it all together, but I did not have any egg noodles, but I did have these mini lasagna noodles that I had gotten from the Amish store, and I knew those would work out just fine. So here I am getting those all cooked up on the stove. I'm just gonna get those drained when they're done and add those in. Now beforehand though, you can't have a stroganoff without some sour cream. So we're getting the sour cream in there. That'll just be that wonderful creamy component in this dish. You can see I am cooking some canned peas there in the background, and I am also doing some potatoes to make some mashed potatoes to serve along with this. This did not take long to pull together, and like I said, it was really delicious, very flavorful, and the peas and mashed potatoes is just kind of the perfect side to go with this. We really enjoyed this meal, and if you haven't made something like this in a while, maybe you want to add this one to your meal plan. I will have it linked down below. All right, everybody, the Chili Chronicles. I've said before, I make chili so many different ways, and sometimes I just film it and show you. But this was an extra special chili, and I'm going to tell you why. I want you to look at these yummy wagon wheel pastas that I bought at the Amish store to go in this chili. We are in the middle of Vacation Bible School at church. We call it Super Kids Sundays. We're having 4 Sundays of VBS, and it's cowboy themed. So I knew these wagon wheel pasta noodles would be so fun to add to this chili. And the theme of our first fellowship meal, which I'm taking this chili for, was chuck wagon Sunday. So how perfectly appropriate was those wagon wheel pasta noodles. So I am making a triple batch of chili here. I've got my trusty yellow kettle out, 3 pounds of ground beef, an onion, and I had these 2 bags of tomatoes. These also came from the Amish store, and I overbought. I knew I wasn't going to get through all these tomatoes in time, so I just chunked them up, threw them in my freezer. I knew I could use them coming up soon. I pulled out from my pantry this can of mixed chili beans. This is my first time to use those. And you guys, I sped this up like crazy because let me tell you, I could not get these out of this can. I mean, I was shaking the fire out of those to get them out finally. And then I did my little can of tomato sauce, a can of Rotel tomato. I didn't want to get this spicy. Just a little bit of peppers there in that Rotel, and then these crushed tomatoes. So like I've said before, I don't follow a recipe with chili. I like to cook chili as the spirit leads. So today, this is what we've come up with. And also in usual fashion, I am almost to the tip top of the kettle. This is my biggest kettle that I have. I need to get a bigger one for sure, but I'm just going to let this simmer together here with some garlic. And then in my spice cabinet, I am going in with, that was black pepper, chili powder, and we like a heavy chili powder in our chili, but you have to think, this is a big old pot of chili. So a lot of chili powder, some smoked paprika, and then I remembered a little bit later to add cumin. My husband likes cumin in chili. I also always like to add some beef bouillon base, some of the beef base there. It gives it, kind of a thick and rich beefy flavor in with chili. And each of those cans that I emptied, I filled up with water. Now what I'm going to do is let this simmer for a few hours, very, very low, and then I let it cool down and I put it in the refrigerator. So the next morning when it was time to go to church, I transferred this to my crock pot, and then I added those wagon wheel pastas in just about an hour before time for lunch. I didn't want those to get too soft and possibly be soggy and fall apart to where you couldn't tell they were wagon wheels. So here it is the next morning. I have just moved that chili from the refrigerator into my crock pot, and this will head out with us. Now I'm going to give you a little look at our chuck wagon Sunday. We have some beef stew, some grilled pork chops, barbecued chicken, shepherd's pie. You can see my wagon wheel chili back there. We have some, they were little chicken foil packets, but she ended up taking them out of the foil packets, and some veggies. What else do we have? We had cowboy beans and fried cornbread. I'm trying to see as we go down the line here. Dutch oven potatoes. We had a meat and cheese board and some pinwheels. And then we had some cowboy cupcakes. We had some, I think that's peach cobbler, and some cheesecake bites. What a fun menu this was. We had just a little bit of chili left over, so we had it for leftovers the next day with a baked potato, butter and sour cream on the side. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. If you take a jar of strawberry jam and a jar of marshmallow fluff and you mix those together with cream cheese, you get the most delicious fruit dip. Now the lighting is so off in this. It's very pink and the lighting is very off. So I made a double batch of that. Actually, I just doubled my cream cheese. 1 strawberry jelly, 1 marshmallow cream. And then I put together these fruit trays. Aren't these so pretty, I have to say. I really enjoyed making these. These were for a baby shower, and I was really happy with how that turned out. But if you have not tried that fruit dip, it is so easy and so quick to put together to serve with fruit. Alright you guys, thank you so much for watching. I never take for granted the time that you come by my channel, spend a little time with me here in my kitchen. If you liked today's video, maybe found some ideas and inspiration, can give me a big thumbs up. It helps my channel so much. And to those that you subscribe that come back every week, thank you so much. But if you aren't one of those, just go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. It helps me a bunch, and that way when I'm in the kitchen you can be here with me. If you want to put on that bell notification, that's another good way to know I'm here. All right, you guys, I hope you're going to have a great week coming up, and I'll see you next time, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Bye, everybody.